Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. So this is my Attack on Titan video. Now obviously Attack on Titan has the third feature on my channel, so it is the later of the three videos that come out. It's not the biggest sequence event, it's not the biggest piece of content. They are changeable pieces of content. If they do become permanent, then there will come a fourth schedule to my channel, and then obviously as my channel grows. If I manage to ever make it past 1,000, obviously I will stick to three as my format for the starting. If I reach 10,000, I will definitely have 4 standards and keep pushing it up until I have 5, 6, and 7. So that is where I'm aiming to go. That is how far I want to push this channel. But obviously, to go with those types of heavy amounts of content, I need people to work with me. I need more equipment, and that is far away from now. Okay, so let's get into Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan episode 2, we're getting into the review. Attack on Titan episode 2 starts off with a quick reminder of exactly what is going on within their world. We get the fundamental understanding of what everybody within the wall understands. Humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction 100 years ago when the Titans suddenly appeared and started attacking them rapidly. They retreated quickly and built up 3 great walls to protect themselves against the onslaught of the Titans. So there's the brief introduction that we get. Then we get our first song with proper wording in it. And I don't really know what the meaning of this first song is, but I do get a little bit of a figurative meaning from the images that are associated with it. So we see the fact that people are left basically in this position where they have to fight. They have no other option. As it is, Eren Yeager's point of view is you fight for everything you earn. You must achieve freedom no matter what. As I said, that was his opinion from day 1, episode 1, one of his first few statements. As we are now getting into the show, it starts off with the first scene going right back to everybody running and the onslaught of the Titans in the city. We see the Titans just decimating everybody. We see that they many times stronger than any person. You can't fight them, you can't stop them. We see them using cannons and setting up defenses to ward them off. We see that some people have been pulled out of the secondary gate into the big wall, because remember, this is an outlier. It sticks out of the wall. It has its own protection, but it's meant to prevent in case of this very scenario. So they pull them back into the other section and they get them onto these boats to pull them up to the higher level districts. And this is basically their only method of moving things very quickly and very efficiently. So they load up women and children first to push over the greatest number of people possible for survival. With all of this being done, a lot of things are being pushed and stressed on. Too many things are being done all over the place. It's quite chaotic, but we nonetheless get to see what's going on inside the area Shiganshina, the first section of the wall that's being attacked. We see that the Titans are just slaughtering everybody. We see a religious heretic screaming out his words, and we see a person trying to hide. We see cowardice, we see bravery, we see all of that being featured in that little instant. In that start, we see people standing up to fight, we see people running away, and we just see how overwhelming these monsters are compared to their convictions. They eat them without any type of ability to stop them, and that is where we actually get into the story ourselves. We are now getting to understand what's going on. We understand exactly what these monsters are that they're hiding from inside the great city. Now we get on to the next section of this entire situation, where Hannes, who is the person who saved Eren and Mikasa in episode 1, is still carrying them, and Eren is hitting him furiously to try and get away. I think it went back slightly. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know whether I watched part of episode 2 and that's how come my review was including some of it, or whether it just rewinds a bit on the information. But nonetheless, we get to this part where Hannes is busy having a conversation with Mikasa and Eren, and he says, "There's nothing you can do. You're a child, you are weak." And Eren gets angry, tries to hit him, catches his hand, and he replies, "But I am worse. I couldn't stand my ground. I was a coward. I ran from the nightmare that I saw in front of me." And the moment they hear this here, you just see Eren and Mikasa's faces dull down, and you see this feeling of terror in their eyes. You can see that there's pain involved in everything that is being said. And with this, the main part of the primary story ends. This is where the primary story's loss of Shiganshina Falls. They get out of there, they put them on a boat, and they're now getting ready to go. Armin is on the boat already. He's looking out for his friends. He sees them, and as he's about to call out to them, he looks at the look on their face, and it's this terror and horror and misery that he can't understand. It's just such a heavy feeling on their face, just the appearance of their faces, that he can tell something bad has happened. Mikasa did have a flashback on the way that it's a repeat of what happened to her, so we get a hint that there's some great tragedy that happened in her past. It does play a very important part into the story as well. Now, as they're moving up, we see this the formation they're doing to save time for people to get out of that outlier district, to save people so that they can keep moving forward to the next area and the next area afterwards. And as they're trying to hold off this area, you see this monstrous titan. It's all gleaming in gold. It's the armored titan, and it starts its charge. Now, we did see a glimpse of this in the previous episode. I don't understand why we're going back and forward, but I'm not 100% sure. So nonetheless, we get a glimpse of it, and it starts charging, and they start opening fire with cannons, and the cannonballs literally bust off the armor on this titan, and they're absolutely shocked. And it just rips right through the gateway, through that gate which they have defending themselves against titans. And with that being done, there's now no defense to hold off the titans from the inner section of Wall Maria. Now, they've lost 2 major fall points in one single attack. They're now forced to pull back even further to Wall Rose. In Wall Rose, we get a meeting of one of the closest districts where refugees have started to pour in, and we get a quick report that there's a lot of them coming in. They're moving very fast, and then they get the confirmed report that Wall Maria has completely collapsed, which is even more horrifying than they can imagine. Now, understand that their resources aren't infinitely vast. They have a limited amount of living space. They can only live in small amounts. And we then get to catch up with Eren. Eren is having a nightmare, as far as he can tell. Obviously, we find out later exactly what's going on here. He has a nightmare with his father in it. His father grabs him. He has a syringe, is telling him he needs to listen. He needs to find this. He needs to take this key, get back to the house so that he can learn the truth. It's very important. It's the only way for them to get out of this misery. And as he's doing this here, he injects his son, and everything goes blank for him. He wakes up again in the morning, and he has the key around his neck, but nothing else is there. There's no injection mark, there's no injuries, nothing makes sense. So he just continues on like if it was just a nightmare. He moves on, they continue on to the next part of this entire trip, and they're now heading out into a plow field. Everybody was forced to plow this cold, hard, unforgiving land, and they're not getting anything out of it, because obviously when land isn't tilled and looked after for long enough, if it isn't made and prepared for food, it won't yield crops immediately. It takes years to get fields ready, and they try and do it in a haste, in a single plow, but the soil didn't respond. It didn't give them any food, so they end up ditching that effort, and they now have to reclaim the lands they lost. Over 250,000 of their people were forced to go out in an attempt to recover their original home. From the 250,000, not even 200 make it back. Now, the whole idea behind this was to make sure that they can get back that land so they could alleviate the poverty. Now, in the words that Armin uses, he says it was a thinly disguised ploy to keep the hunger at bay, to stop them from starving to death. That was all that they managed to achieve. They didn't manage to drive the Titans back. They didn't defeat many of them. It was just a waste of 250,000 lives for one big push. Moving on from this point, we have the scene with Eren, Armin and Mikasa. They sitting inside the square where they... Okay, wait, no, actually, I'm mixing up scenes. This is prior to that scene. They're in a square where they're getting food rations, and the soldier gives this comment about fatten up the herd so we can feed them to the Titans. That's all they're good for, Titan fodder. And Eren gets heated, even though he's a child, and he kicks a fully grown soldier. The soldier says he chose the wrong person to fight with and is about to beat him down when Armin jumps in front and soothes out the entire situation. Eren makes a statement. Have you ever seen one of them? Do you understand the horror that they inflict? You don't even know what you're talking about because you're a bunch of cowards. Now, this isn't a fake situation. This isn't a fake statement. This is 100% the truth of their world. These soldiers are cowards because they had a choice on where they would serve, what they would serve as, and they chose the safest jobs possible so that they wouldn't have to face the horrors of Titans. And when he points this fact out, it makes them really, really upset. And in this moment, everything is basically shaping up. Armin and Eren have this big argument, and Eren gives off the statement, which is very important down the line. We must not be parasites. We must fight for what is ours. We can't just have everything handed to us. Now, that statement in itself is one of the biggest driving forces for the next part of the show when you get into it. Now, all of this being said, the next thing we get to see is the academy starting. We don't get to see the full start. We know that they're getting ready for their cadet academy, and that's the last scene in Attack on Titan episode 2. I hope to catch you all in the next one. See you all there. Have a good day.